Yo, what's going on, guys? Good morning again, and welcome back to the Comfy Couch. This is where we're going to be shooting from probably for the rest of the month. Might go to the studio, do a couple of these, might be in the Challenger, just all depends. Today, I'm going to touch on a topic I kind of glazed over last time we talked in reference to the organizations involved in order for you to begin your journey to participate in the Olympic Games. Some people wonder, what's the new system for ranking? You know, are the organizations involved in sport taekwondo that allow you to participate in a tournament that's actually a points recognized tournament for the Olympics. Today I'm going to shed a little bit of light on that topic and give you some pointer references to go run down on your own, get your homework done on your own, in reference to these various organizations. I'm in the United States, and in the United States, we have what's called a national governing body. That national governing body for the United States is the United States Olympic Committee. Underneath that banner of the United States Olympic Committee is what would be considered a managing national organization, which is USA Taekwondo, or as this was branded in US Open, USA TKD. USA Taekwondo for the United States is the national governing body for Taekwondo in the United States. What does that mean? National governing body is, for United States, an organization that's in charge of getting athletes ready and eligible to participate in the Olympic Games. Now, that's a very broad generalization. If you go to teamusa.org/taekwondo, that mission statement is both vague and a little bit one-off. Let me explain. In order to get ready to participate in the Olympic Games, you have to do a few things. First, you have to be, in the United States anyway, a member of USA Taekwondo. Now, there's a little bit of confusion about that, because here's what was going on in the United States, at least for a while. The United States, way back in the early 1900s, had an organization called the Amateur Athletic Union. That organization, way back in 1800s, coming into the 1900s, was an organization that specialized in, quote, amateur sports. About 40 years ago, around 1978, 79, that changed. The reason why that changed is because our beloved president, Jimmy Carter, signed into law what's called the Amateur Athletics or Amateur Athlete Act. What that act basically did is and was, it established what's known as United States Olympic Committee, in short. The second phase of that law, which was an amendment by an Alaska congressman or senator, and I don't want to tell you wrong, so let me see if I can look up this guy's was he actually a congressman or senator? I believe he was a senator. His name is Ted Stevens, and he was from Alaska. Okay, Senator Ted Stevens amended act for the United States where you didn't have to necessarily, quote, be an amateur. That's why United States, when you think about basketball, golf, tennis, hockey, what's another sport where it's professionals? Sometime if baseball ever comes back, baseball, golf, tennis, basketball, hockey, and I know I'm missing one. But with his amendment, it changed the definition of, quote, amateurism. Amateurism is just a long, drawn out debate of paid, not paid. And it gets kind of complicated because there are professional sports where you're doing it as a professional, you don't get paid here in the States. Another rant, I'll get off on that later. But with the Amateur Athlete Act, the Amateur Athlete Act established the United States Olympic Committee. With the formation of the United States Olympic Committee, you had a lot of organizations that once upon a time were kind of scattered, fit all up under one banner. When you go to the official United States Olympic Committee webpage, which is teamusa.org, teamusa.org, when you go to that website, you'll see all of the sports. You'll see summer sports, you'll see winter sports, you'll see all of the organizations, all of the national governing bodies for every Olympic sport that the United States have. You go to summer sports in particular, that's where Taekwondo falls under summer. And now, I want to take this moment to advise you some things. There are some summer sports listed on the teamusa.org summer games site. Some of them are still official summer sports, some are not. Example, softball. Softball used to be an official Summer Olympic sport. It's not. It's been in Summer Olympics, out Summer Olympics. It wasn't in Rio. Golf, which was in Rio, people think that golf has always been in the Olympics, but no, golf took a hiatus. Golf, hadn't been in the Olympics. It's going all the way back to almost 1904, 1905, something like that. The long and short of it is, in the United States, the United States Olympic Committee is the big main governing body for Olympic competition, whether it be summer or winter, in the United States. And when you go look at their website, it shows you all of the sports that are summer or winter, or had been summer or winter. When you go to the website, softball is still listed, canoeing is still listed, water skiing, everything, wrestling, everything is there. Okay. Now, what makes that a little challenging when you go to the site and look at those is that you have to go to the official International Olympic Committee webpage, olympics.org, to see the current list of summer games. So you may say, well, wait a minute. You go to International Olympic Committee's webpage and they have a list of summer games. When you come to USA Taekwondo or Team USA, and they have this list that's a little bit longer. The reason for that is there's such a thing as official summer games. There are demonstration summer games, and there were games that were just like one-hit wonders. Those one-hit wonder games, okay, try and vie every so many years to get put back into the Olympics or brought in as an exhibition game or series of games. So getting back to Team USA, United States Olympic Committee, USA Taekwondo. Okay. When you look at the hierarchy of United States Olympic Committee, underneath all of the charts and all of the presidents, vice presidents, leaders, you find the names of the different sports. There are 48, 49 of them, roughly. I'll let you do your homework and figure out which ones are actually official and which ones were sports, which ones are not sports anymore now with all of the sports that fall under the governance of the United States Olympic Committee, you say, well, that's a whole lot of sports to try to keep up with and maintain. That's why you have the national governing bodies that fall up under USAT. USAT golf, United States golf, United States track and field, United States wrestling, United States taekwondo, United States karate. All these different organizations are their own individual governing bodies, and their job is to make sure that whatever sport it is, wrestling, taekwondo, canoeing, fencing, they're following the guidelines for participation and spirit, kinship, all that good stuff for the Olympics. USA Taekwondo, if you're United States, does some state championships, and they've been doing the US Open. They've been working, I use the term working loosely, but they've had, are doing some, assisting promotion with our President's Cup. United States has been fortunate enough to host the last two, I think, President's Cups that have gone on that are for the North American continent, particularly the United States. This is a new development because also we're fortunate enough, United States, to be the headquarters for the Pan American Taekwondo Union. Now I'm going to go up the chart in a few minutes of Pan American Taekwondo Union, but I wanted to finish up talking about United States, just the United States side, United States Olympic Committee, United States Taekwondo, USA Taekwondo. Okay. USA Taekwondo is national governing body. Some of the things that it is supposed to be doing is selection of the U.S. Olympic team, some selection for world championships, and other things like that. Now you may say, hold on, I was at the Canadian Open, I was at the Oceania Open, I was at various championships, opens, this and other, and some of the people I met represent the United States, but they weren't on the national team. Here's why that happens. The national team, or they're supposed to be national team, they are sent to represent the United States in things like the Olympics, Pan Ams, World Grand Prix, and sometimes World Championships. We're going to say sometimes World Championships because you have to qualify for all of those different events I just named. For Olympics, you have a point system now. For Pan Am, you have a qualifying tournament. For World Grand Prix, you have a qualifying tournament. For the World Grand Slam, you have a qualifying tournament. So it's kind of tricky because you could have a situation where someone could qualify to participate in the World Grand Slam or the World Grand Prix or the actual Olympics themselves, and it's a pretty good chance they might not even be on the national United States Olympic team. It can happen. Case in point, there were a couple of former Olympians for the United States that at this past U.S. team trials weren't allowed to try out. They didn't get waivers. So you ask yourself, okay, if this person got the points, qualified, but when they go to the event, they're not representing the, quote, United States as a team member, what's going on with that? Well, it's like I said about some of the chaos, and I call it what it is, chaos, that was going on within the United States with organizations that, even though it's been 40 years, literally 40 plus years, since the Amateur Athletic Union had anything to do with Olympic qualification, some people just refuse to understand that. They just meant that they were going to do it whatever way. They refuse to understand that we're in a modern era. There are rules in place, there are new rules, there are governing bodies that, have a say. The International Olympic Committee has a legit say in what's going on as far as standards, with the World Anti-Doping Agency and with the United States having their own anti-doping agency. They have say in standards and practices and acceptable practices and things like that. From what I observed, it was a struggle, a power struggle that really and truly wasn't needed, because in this country, federal law is federal law. That's just the way the old cookie crumbles. Federal law is federal law. Now, you can have people who just, are going to just do something, crazy. They're just going to do it their way and rage against the machine, and, they can try that. They can try to, rage against the machine. And the only thing about it you have to remember is, in this modern era, the International Olympic Committee has attorneys. USO, United States Olympic Committee, has attorneys. And he with the most money will most of the time win. Speaking of which, one thing you have to remember about the United States Olympic Committee in particular is that it has a pretty solid war chest these days. Some estimates are over $500 million, some are almost at $1 billion. We may find out one day officially, we may never know. Only thing we can go by is the current tax records. So if they're getting their marching orders from the International Olympic Committee as far as what they're going to be able to do to keep generating that type of revenue, naturally they're going to be the ones to tell the national or managing governing bodies, USA Taekwondo, USA, whatever, here's what you need to do to keep this going. So watching that power struggle these last couple of years has really, really, really been interesting, because I didn't understand at first just how hell-bent some people were on raging against the machine. I really didn't. I had no idea that there were some people that were just, raging. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, until the rape allegations came out, and as fate would have it, it involved a lot of guys that remember of that old AAU clique. That unfortunately that was the straw that finally broke the camel's back. That was the straw that finally made them say, okay, look, we need to be doing something else. Now, it's not a good thing that happened, but as I said, unfortunately, it took that to finally get some, hate to say it like this, it took that to finally get some positive change going on in Taekwondo in the United States, and breaking the hold of that last holdout that was just insisting on doing whatever it is they wanted and not doing everything they need to do to get U.S. athletes prepared and ready and qualified to participate in Olympic Games. USA Taekwondo, as I said, for the United States is the national governing body. And it falls under the umbrella of the United States Olympic Committee. Now, as I said, here in the States, the United States Olympic Committee officially took over as being the official, here's where everyone falls under, national governing body almost 40 years ago, which means all roads, whether it be Paralympics, Youth Olympics, Pan Ams, this is the organization that is saying, hey, here's where you come to start, and you can find all information, all organizations you need to start your journey. As I said earlier before, I hope and really sincerely hope that the changes I've seen so far lead to more and more of the positive change we need here in the States. The reason why I'm saying is because there's so much talent here in the United States, especially when it comes to athletics. But you have to remember that you have to be prepared to meet the challenge. The reason why I say it's like that is because here's what bothers me right now about how team trials went this year. If you fight or get in the match with the best of the best in your particular sport, which means you have a 30-man bracket, whatever, and you fight through that bracket and you earn that spot on the team, great. If it looks like you're dodging opponents because they didn't have the time to break away, they couldn't get off on their job or anything like that to break away and go to team trials, and it just broke down to who showed up that day, that's not helping anyone. Because as I mentioned before, internationally, these athletes have they've come to compete. They're not playing. They're coming to win just like everyone else. And when I say you're untested, exactly what I mean. You go to all lowercase worldtaekwondo.org, worldtaekwondofederation.org. They have the rankings of athletes. You can either go to the site and click by country. If whoever you're sending in a situation like that in the States where you have a top 30 or top 35 number of athletes, if whoever you're sending hadn't fought and defeated at least 10 of the top 30 that year going in, you need to come up with a different way of picking the team. You'd have a better alternate. And I say that because here's the point that everyone needs to not look past. When you send someone to the Olympics, they don't make it out of the first round, you have to ask why. Leading up to that, when everyone says they were untested and unproven, well, they were untested and unproven. If you have 30 people ranked, your top 30, top 35, world ranking and Olympic ranking, that person hadn't fought in at least 10 of them that year, they're not ready. They're unproven, they're untested, they're unprepared. And it shows. Get put on your behind first round of the World Championships. Get put on your behind first round of the Grand Prix. Do I have to remind you that in the heavyweight division, the person they sent didn't make it out of the first round? things you have to think about when you're making someone the face of an organization that's supposed to be the best that they have to offer. United States doesn't send athletes for participation trophies. They don't. Regardless of how much anyone paid as when they were junior cadets to participate in USAT events or AAU events, the Olympics is the big league. It will boggle your mind to go to the World Taekwondo Federation, worldtaekwondo.org. Go to rankings. Go to the plus 80, go to the plus 60, go to the minus 87, go to the world rankings or Olympic rankings, and go to United States. That's how many people you have that have made the sacrifices, done the travel. Some have done pretty good in international sports, some haven't. But here's what you have to remember. In the modern day, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, this year, if that person you sent hadn't really done a bit better than anybody else, then here's what you have to understand. They're going to get better. They're going to start winning. They need to start facing some of the guys in that top 35. Period. Because the experience of them getting beat up or the experience of them getting losing doesn't help. So that's why I made sure I break down in this video what the USA Taekwondo is. Give information. You can go to the website teamusa.org/taekwondo, or go to Team USA Summer Sports, go on USA Taekwondo, so you can read some of this stuff and see it for yourself. You can start thinking and planning ahead. So if you're going to participate in state championships, or if you want to participate in, say, the President's Cup, or you want to participate in US Open, or you want to get to nationals, you have the correct information you need to succeed. That was another thing that really, really bothered me about some of the things that were going on leading up to the Rio Olympics. Way too much misinformation and sidebars and just out and out, sabotage of athletes to get a certain, favorites put in positions. If they win, great. I can kind of see your point. But if you're just doing it because you made a promise you can't keep, or if you're just doing it because, you decided that you wanted this person or that person to be the face of the organization, you can't be surprised when the general public looks at that and goes, well, how did he get there? How did she get there? And not to call any names, but here's a little side note I want to throw out there. When you have a person that makes plus 10 U.S. national teams, goes to the Olympics once, doesn't medal, you say, well, what's the problem? But then that same person turns around and sues or tries to sue the U.S. Olympic Committee, USA Taekwondo, and you find out that that person, it really was some tomfoolery that got him there. It makes you question just how good that particular national team is or going to be. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just pointing out something obvious. If you come to find out, yeah, this person was, if I say it, you're going to know them, but this person was in a relationship with someone higher up. That's how they got there. And then when they didn't win their gold medal or they didn't qualify for Olympics, then they sued. You have to ask the question, did they bring this on themselves? And with that, this is going to conclude part 1 of my hierarchical explanation of the different organizations that leads up to the Olympics. Like I said, thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for donating. Please like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll be coming back with part 2 and 3, possibly 4 later on. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.